Absolutely. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I was born and raised in the area, and being in Illinois, I wanted to represent our great state. That brought me to the Illinois International Pageants. I was really excited also for the platform part of it. There's not many pageant systems that have so much of an emphasis on making a difference and talking about something that's so important to you. So I knew this was something that I wanted to go into. I found my way to international pageants this past week, and I had such an amazing time meeting all the girls and becoming the new title holder. Determined. I'm someone who loves to set goals for myself and work to reach those goals. I know sometimes you might not reach that end that you're looking for, but you learn so much on the journey there if you work hard. So for me, having that hardworking nature and trying to accomplish your dreams is something that's really defined my life up until this point. I'm an undergraduate student at the University of Illinois at Chicago. I'm going into my last year there. I'm majoring in biology with a minor in chemistry, so I'm very much interested in the sciences. My plan is to attend medical school after finishing college to pursue a career as a physician. I won't be doing a master's in between. I will most likely go from bachelor's to the MD program. I have a slight preference for biology since that is my main major. I really enjoy learning about life cycles and learning about all the different things that make life exist on planet Earth. And biology is a study of life. It just intrigues me so much. And now in being at the college level, I'm seeing how biology is integrating into the study of medicine. So it continues to capture my attention every day. Absolutely. The global water crisis is the single greatest humanitarian issue of our time. You and I may walk to a faucet, but there's young girls and women who walk 6 kilometers a day carrying 5 gallons of water to provide for their families. They don't get to go to school or have jobs, which is something that we here take advantage of. I created World for Water to fight for these women. And I'm partnering with water.org, which has already helped 36 million people. We're trying to create a world where no one has to make sacrifices for clean water. It's a basic human right, so we need to do everything that we can to get it to people who need it, as well as keeping it clean all around the world. It's more so all over the world. We're seeing that there's this idea that the global water crisis is only happening in developing countries and in third world countries, but it's actually happening all over the world. You can take a look in the United States with Flint, Michigan, the Central Valley in California. The global water crisis is alive and active and impacting people. My hope with World for Water, is to spread the message that it's happening everywhere and that it's our duty to make those small changes that are needed to help people in our nation and all around the world. They do have the same exact goal, and that's one thing that I really appreciated by working with them. They're very much trying to raise awareness that this is a serious issue. Unfortunately, this is not talked about in everyday media and governments. It's not an active conversation. And so World for Water and water.org are trying to make it an active conversation and doing what we can to raise the money that's needed to bring people clean water. One thing that I'm looking forward to is starting a community gardens project. Over the past few months of being Miss Illinois International, I learned so much about how gardens can actually be a way to help keep water clean in our own nation. It's something that's so simple, we get fresh produce out of it, and it protects our water. My goal is to partner with local organizations and starting my own community garden, as well as a nationwide campaign. What's cool about it is that we can protect our water supply, but we can also grow food that can feed our communities, can go to food banks and help those in need. It truly is an issue that protects our environment and helps people. There's a negative connotation with pageantry in society. Many people believe that it's only a way for women to be judged on their beauty and that's all. But from my personal experience, I've had something completely different. Pageantry is a way for women to become strong, to become independent, They learn about themselves, which is the most important thing that we can do. In addition, they dedicate themselves to a cause. For me, that was the global water crisis. For other individuals, it's fighting bullying and other important causes. It's teaching us to want to make a difference in the world. In essence, women are becoming leaders through pageantry, and they're the ones who are going to make the changes that are needed in society to help those around us. It has become a tool to make women stronger, to make them ready to fight any issues in the world. And it's important that we share these experiences to overcome the negative connotation and to get more women to join. In preparing for a pageant, you have to practice a lot. And for me, a lot of that practice is an interview and learning how to speak on stage for something like on stage question. For me, that portion is something that gives me that strong independent feeling because I'm working on forming my own opinions, learning how to talk and expressing who I am to those around us. When we're on stage and we're walking in our evening gowns or walking in fun fashion, we're gaining confidence. We are loving ourselves when we're walking, and that also ties into becoming a strong woman. So it's interesting to see how every single part of the pageant really brings us together and makes us stronger women. I started pageants actually fairly recently. I was 18 when I started, and I'm 20 now, but I'm very happy that my journey has brought me to international pageants. It is such a great system, and meeting the other girls from the States while I was competing at the national level pageant was such an incredible experience, as many of them feel like sisters at this point, even though we were together for 1 week. So I'm very glad that I was able to join such an amazing organization. We would have very long rehearsals together. Some would go all day long, and it was very tiring. But the friendships, the way we talked to one another, the stories that we told, the jokes that we made with one another got us through those really long days. It was that sisterhood that is something that I'm going to remember for a very long time. Some of these girls are probably going to be bridesmaids at my wedding at this point. So my favorite memory is just meeting the girls and creating those deep relationships. Andriana was Miss New Jersey, and I felt such a deep connection with her. We talked so much about our platforms with one another. When we were tired, we would joke with one another. We kept each other laughing and built each other up during the entire process. So I would say that we developed a very close relationship over the past week.
Is she your roommate?
We weren't roommates, but we spent a lot of time during the day to the point where it felt like we were roommates. I was very inspired by seeing Megan, the previous Miss International, win. I was just so inspired because I saw myself in her. She was tall, she was an athlete, and people would say that, oh, she's not a pageant girl given her background, but she showed them wrong and she became Miss International. Because I resonated with her, I got that motivation that I needed to join in the upcoming state pageant. In addition to that, like I said before, I love how platform-based this organization is. It gave me the ability to develop World for Water and to create a charitable cause, which was a goal that I had set for myself in the long term. The one thing that gets me through the pageant is being myself. What's so interesting is that we're all individuals. We all have different things that make us unique, and that's what the judges want to see. That's what the world wants to see, in fact. If you stay true to yourself and be yourself unapologetically, you're going to do amazing on stage, and most importantly, you're going to have fun. I drink a lot of water. People don't realize how much water helps keep our skin very rejuvenant. So drink a lot of water. But another beauty secret is being yourself. I believe that our clothes and the way we do our makeup and hair is a direct reflection of who we are. So if we allow our personality to be shown, I think that's a great way to gain motivation and to show the world who you are.
You have the same secret, the beauty secret of Yolanda.
That's very funny. How did I prepare for this pageant?
Yeah, with the pandemic, it's very, very difficult to end.
I practiced as much as I could, And I utilized what resources I had to meet with people, but not in person. I had a lot of Zoom practice interviews. I would videotape myself walking and send it to people to give me feedback. I just found ways to work around the situation and to stay connected with people without having to get together physically. She or he is a role model. It's important for individuals to understand when they have a title that they need to represent the highest of ethical and moral standards. People are watching them and they need to make sure that they're setting a good example. For me, I would go out to events, but I made sure it was safe and ensuring that I would not hurt anyone around me or anyone would get sick. We had to make sure that we were protecting ourselves while still being out in the community. In essence, this past year has shown me that you have to be resourceful and you have to be creative because you want to still be out there, you want to be in the community, but you have to do it in a way that keeps people safe. How am I a role model?
Yes.
I try to show individuals that we need to do as much community service as possible. We have been blessed with so much privilege in life, but this privilege must become purpose to help those around us and all around the world. Through my beach cleanups, through my fundraisers, or my meeting with children and reading books to them, I donate my time to help those around me. And I hope I'm setting an example for little boys and girls and all adults to be doing the same thing. Yes, society has created these unnecessary standards for women and men to follow that are simply unrealistic. We need to come together and really promote the fact that we need to be proud of who we are, that each one of us don't need to conform to this ideal because there is no perfect ideal. The best thing that we can do is be proud of who we are. We can show others what makes us special and celebrate other individuals as well. If we share our insecurities with one another and we're ourselves unapologetically, that's one way we can really overcome this feeling that we have to fit a standard. Rather than saying that I have to be like this, like this, like this, we can rather share what makes us special and unique. And once we realize how incredible individuality is and how straining it can be to fit an ideal, we can overcome this issue that society has faced for many, many years. For some individuals, having that cosmetic surgery is important. For some individuals, for example, if they have breathing issues, that might help them breathe better. In my personal eyes, I like to stay true to myself, but for other individuals, I think it's important to allow them to express themselves the way they are. I'm a strong believer that I shouldn't dictate what other individuals do. I should stay true to who I am. So in that sense, I'm very much in the position that do what makes you happy, but at the same time, we don't want to set unrealistic ideals for people who are watching in society. I would tell them that I understand where they're coming from. When I first started researching after Megan won, I got scared. I didn't know if the system was for me, but I tried it. I just took that chance and I fell in love with the system. For a girl who's hesitating, I would tell her the same thing. I would share with her how international systems has changed my life completely. It's given me this platform to truly make a difference around the world and to be out in the community. I want to share my story with her to hopefully overcome her hesitation and show her that the system is so incredible for the women who enter it. Yes, I am proud to be an Indian American. My parents immigrated here, my dad in the late 80s, my mom in the early 90s, and they worked so incredibly hard to give me and my sisters an incredible life. So I'm very proud of the hard work and the discipline that they've taught us because that's what they had to do to make a life for the 5 of us here. In addition to that, Indian culture is just so incredibly beautiful. The weddings, the food, the clothing, the movies, and all these different aspects of culture is something that I'm very proud of, and I keep it an active role in my life. I truly enjoy having this mix of both American and Indian culture in my life. That is such a difficult decision because I love every single movie. But if I had to pick one, there's this movie called Padmavat. It is created by Sanjay Leela Bansali. The movie cinematically is just beautiful. The clothing, the storyline, it really brings together all these elements in such a creative and artistic way that I can watch it over and over again and not be tired.
This movie is in Hindi or in English?
It's in Hindi. I usually, though, have English subtitles on in case I don't realize what a word means, so I have that little safety bridge to watch. Samosas are absolutely delicious. It's basically a fried pastry. So on the outside you have pastry dough, but on the inside it's filled with potatoes and peas and all these incredible spices. It truly is that one dish that brings together the best parts of Indian cooking. The great thing is that the majority of Indian food is vegetarian, so it is very applicable for everyone to eat. So I would encourage that everyone tries it once because it truly is an incredible cuisine. What's interesting about Indian culture is there's a huge emphasis on the family unit. When my parents first came, they went through the struggles that all immigrants go through, but they leaned on their siblings, they leaned on their family members that were here, and they got through it. Growing up, my siblings and I, as well as my cousins, we didn't go through these different difficulties, but my parents still emphasized family unit and being supportive of one another. So this idea of being very close to your family and depending on them is something that I want to transmit to American culture, because I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do without the support of my family. So that part of Indian culture is important to me and is something that I want to share with the rest of America. I have two older sisters. One is 26 and she is a resident practicing medicine. And then my other sister is in 24 and she's pursuing her graduate education in clinical psychology. They have definitely set the standard very high for me, but they're great sisters.
Your sister participate in a pageant?
No, they haven't. I'm actually the very first one in my family, but they live vicariously through me and they enjoy watching me go through my different experiences. They've been a great support system and they love coming to pageants to cheer me on.
Your parents support you in Tennessee during the final?
Yes, my parents drove out to see me compete. They were probably the most excited out of everyone because growing up and being immigrants, they want to see their daughter succeed. So seeing me on the international stage and now with the international title definitely makes them very happy. I was completely shocked. I did not see that coming. And I had a moment where my mind just went blank and I thought, what is going on? And as I started walking up, I realized that I won the title. And I thanked God. I thanked the judges. I looked over to my family and Team Illinois, and seeing them go all crazy was such an incredible moment. And it's something that I will never forget. I've always been one to keep myself very busy, whether it was with academics and extracurriculars and being Miss Illinois International in these past couple of months. I've gained a wide skill set though on how to manage my time, and it all comes down to my agenda and writing down what I need to get done. That is something that has allowed me to make sure that I allocate my time where it needs to be and I get everything done in a timely manner. So my goal is to continue the way that I've been managing my time to complete all the responsibilities that I have as a student and as Miss International. I do, even though it's rare on some occasions, I do make sure that I make time for myself. It's important that we have that breather, that we have that relaxing time, because that's important for our mental health as well. For me, my relaxing time is either baking banana bread, watching a Bollywood movie, or most often sleeping. It's important, like I said, to make that time for yourself because we need that balance in life. I believe it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I watched that before I left for Kingsport. I'm someone who every now and then just loves watching a children's movie, and it gives me that nostalgia that I had when I was younger. So the last movie I watched was that.
Okay.
I read a lot of books about medicine and where medicine's going. I recently read a book called The Personalized Medicine Revolution by Dr. Peter Collis, and it talked about how our increasing understanding of genetics and our microbiome is completely changing how we're going to pursue medicine in the future. Along with this great power also comes responsibility and understanding the ethical issues that come as well. I'm very much someone who enjoys reading about where medicine's going because it's going to be my future career, and it's important that I'm prepared for these challenges now while I'm entering medical school. I've always had an interest in orthopedic surgery because of the emphasis that can be on sports medicine. Working with athletes is a dream of mine because they have some of the most interesting and challenging cases. I'm always someone who enjoys a challenge and really having to think around to solve a problem. So being in orthopedic surgery and working in sports medicine in specific really is a challenging job and something that I look forward to. When I was younger, I played basketball. That was something that I mostly played because I was tall. I was told that I would be an asset to the team if I played. Later on, though, I actually moved on to being in marching band. Many people don't see it as a sport, but it takes so much stamina and so much strength. So for my 4 years in high school, I participated in that. It's a combination of two things. If I have a really nice bowl of pasta in front of me with a really good movie playing, I am sure to be having a very, very good time. With the pandemic, I've really had to find a balance between online connection as well as in-person connection. I have had events where I went into a local preschool, which actually was my old preschool, and read to kids, but we had to have certain guidelines to make sure we kept the children safe. Other times I'm connecting online. I've done a few online events, and filming my podcast online is something that I share with my community. So it's always been a balance of making sure that if I'm in person, I will do it and keep it safe. But otherwise, I'm finding online ways to connect with the community around me. I created Drops of Change, which plays on YouTube. I wanted to create a way to have a really awesome discussion about the global water crisis. What's interesting, it's a very multifaceted issue. Individuals only see it as an environmental problem, but there's actually social, economic, and political consequences as well. So being able to invite guests who are experts in these different fields to talk about how the global water crisis is manifested in our world was something that was important to me. It's been so much fun to film it and host it, and I've met some incredible people throughout it.
How many podcasts have you on your channel?
I've had 4 episodes so far. My goal is to do about 1 a month to make sure we're keeping it active. And I'm looking forward to continuing it as Miss International.
When is the next podcast?
I don't have a set date yet. We're trying to work some things out with guests, but it will be coming up very soon. I like Instagram a lot because it has a mixture of stories and posts. I try to stay off of social media as much as possible, but I know it's a way to really spread our message. So I do as much as possible to connect with my community through it. And Instagram is one of the easiest to use because I'm not the most technological savvy person on the planet. And I just really enjoy how the app is set up and how it allows me to connect to so many people in my community. You'll find that I'm a very simple person and that I like to share my life's accomplishments on Instagram. I don't post very often on my personal account, but any moments that are really special to me that I want to share with those who I'm friends with, I make sure that those go on. On my other Instagrams, though, my title holder Instagrams, I'm much more frequent. I want individuals to see what I'm doing and to inspire them to get involved, whether that's doing community service or being a part of ending the global water crisis. The one wow factor is that when I was in high school, I actually became certified as a first responder. So I have a first responder card. That's probably the most wow thing because that gives me the ability to save someone's life in a very critical moment. I learned how to do CPR, the Heimlich, and other really important maneuvers that can help save a life in an instant. So that's probably the most important thing that I carry with me at all times. I always have chapstick and my phone. I love the smell of chapstick most importantly, so having that with me is important and it keeps my lips nice and soft, but also having my phone I don't use it as often as most people would. I try to stay away from as much technology as possible, but you never know when you'll need to make a phone call or when you need to send a certain text. So before I leave the house, I make sure I have both of those items.
Are you desperate if you lose your phone?
I don't go crazy if I don't have it on me. I understand that I will get back to where I need to be, that I will need what I need to be okay. So if I don't have my phone, I won't panic. I will just make sure that I'm able to find it because I am prone to losing things. So I'll make sure that I know where it is and then I'll be fine. My first thing to definitely do is to travel anywhere in the world as Miss International. There's so many places where either desperate help is needed to bring water or places where we can go that have overcome their water disparity or their water scarcity. My goal is to make sure I travel somewhere at least once to meet these individuals, help them out, to learn their story so that people all over the world can learn it as well through my platform. One country that has always piqued my interest is South Africa. A couple of years ago, they were going through very high levels of water scarcity to the point where they were reaching day zero, which is when water is so scarce that it has to be rationed out. As a community, though, they came together and they made little changes that were needed to protect their water supply. And they suspended day zero indefinitely, meaning that they're fine now. They don't have to worry about water scarcity. They're one example of how the community can come together and really make a change that's needed to protect our water and to make sure everyone has adequate access to clean drinking water. I would want to hear their stories, bring it back to water.org and my personal platform, World for Water, and share it with the rest of the world because it can be very beneficial for those who are going through the same situation. We had a few conversations with one another, and she has already been a role model for me off the bat because of her demeanor. She is so incredibly sweet yet strong. She's confident yet humble. And it's that perfect combination of who she is from what she exudes within the first minute of meeting her that makes her so incredibly inspiring. I would tell them to get ready for a ride. I'm going to be doing the most that I can to make a difference, and I want them to join me, whether that's going to beach cleanups with me, doing fundraisers with me, or simply just tuning into my podcast. They should join in on my journey to end the global water crisis because that's the most important thing that we can do, and that's helping our godly brothers and sisters in need.